Ladies and gentlemen, in the ever expanding rogues gallery that is documented on this channel, No Risk, No Reward Media, people that are in Ireland from all over the world doing all sorts of things. I want to introduce you to the latest edition. This, folks, is Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil. And Dr. Phil has developed a reputation for performing surgical procedures on children. Not in a hospital, mind you, at the children's homes. And not on operating tables, but on kitchen tables. Sometimes without anesthesia. And Dr. Phil, by the way, is not a doctor. He just calls himself Dr. Phil. Yes, this is real. Bogus doctor Philip Ogbewe. There he is, Dr. Phil, in his surgical scrubs, or should I say his hooded top and his baseball cap, who circumcised 7 young boys, appeals his jail sentence. Yes, you read that correctly. A bogus doctor who was on bail for a botched procedure on another child, when he then carried out this procedure on 7 other young boys, has launched an appeal against this jail sentence. He said he was not given credit for seeing the light and recognizing the wrongfulness of his actions. He thinks he was dealt with too harshly, folks. Judge was too hard on him. Philip Ogbewe referred to himself as Dr. Phil when he performed this procedures on 6 infants and a 5-year-old boy at various locations. So he was like a locum surgeon in his own eyes, that is, in his own twisted mind. In Dublin, Kildare and Wexford in 2018 and 2019. And it's taken this long. It's taken what? 7 years, 6 years for him to get sentenced. Ogbewe of Green Lanes, Drogheda, County Louth. Yeah, he's a Louth man. Pleaded guilty to 7 counts of endangerment and 7 counts of assault causing harm in relation to each child he performed the procedure on, dating between January the 1st, 2018 and October 23rd, 2019. He had previously been arrested in 2018 due to another procedure that he carried out in 2015. So he was out in bail when he did it 7 more times. Dr. Phil. One of the children was hospitalized after complications. Ogbewe was jailed in May 2020 for 3 years for the endangerment of that child, backdated to November 2019 when he was taken into custody. He obviously didn't learn his lesson and was allowed to remain in Ireland to continue his practices. The hearing was told that he was contacted by parents. Parents actually sought this guy out. They had heard of him through friends. Some parents had tried to get their child operated on in hospital, but could neither access the procedure or they were quoted €1,500 for the surgery. Enter Dr. Phil. Ogbewe charged the parents between €300 and €350 in most cases. That's pretty cheap for surgery these days. You know, $1,500 in a hospital, or Dr. Phil can do it in your house for $300. Yeah, give Dr. Phil a call. usually while the child was in their parents' lap, or in one case on a kitchen table. He used an anesthetic spray sometimes, but not all times, just depending on how he was feeling that day, I suppose. Imposing sentencing in July 2024, Judge Elma Sheehan said the court was struck by the absence of anesthesia. She said it was just lucky that some of the children didn't suffer more. Lucky? Yeah, they really lucked out when Dr. Phil came to visit. Sentencing him in July 2024, Judge Sheehan imposed a 4.5-year sentence on each of the 7 counts of endangerment, said it was necessary one of these sentences would run consecutively, the remainder run concurrently. This gave a total of 9 years, which he reduced by 18 months to reflect the principles of totality and proportionality, giving a total sentence of 7.5 years with the final 12 months suspended. So effectively, a year per kid. A year per child, hey? Nothing like good old-fashioned Irish justice, is there? Now, the council took issue with this sentence, thought it was too hard, too harsh. Dr. Phil shouldn't have been hit so hard with the hammer of justice. Mitigating factors should have been taken into consideration, i.e., he played an active role in his own children's lives. Really? If he's doing that to other children, what the hell's he doing to his own? Maybe. I don't know. His legal representative, I'm not even going to try and pronounce this guy's name. It's even harder to pronounce than the Africans, to be quite honest with you. Said it was important to distinguish between international and reckless and intentional, and I suppose international. There's a slip of the tongue on my part there, saying Ogbewe didn't carry out the acts for the purposes of endangering. No, he carried them out for money. Have scalpel will travel. There's no suggestion there was an actual risk of harm in anything he did. This is his legal counsel. Oh, there was no risk. No risk. Yeah, just let him into the house, throw the child on the table and let him crack on. No risk. Said the 7 cases demonstrated a level of competence. He was good at what he did. He was good. It prevented those involved from being exposed to serious injury or death. Remember, this is not a doctor. Ogbewe says he's been doing it for decades. The reality is the risk was actually quite low because of his level of experience. So he's been operating as a doctor for decades and he's not a doctor. So you got to take that into consideration, when you're sentencing him. Could have been a lot worse than it was. I just cannot get my head around the mentality of people. People equals trouble. That's my equation of life, by the way. He said there were grave aggravating factors, including the multitude of victims. Ogbewe had researched whether he could perform these procedures legally by getting a license. He found that when he couldn't do it legally, he went ahead and did them anyway for over 2 decades, over 20 years. Now, these are only the kids that we know about. How many more has he been at? He put himself out there as a capable professional to perform surgery when he knows neither of those things and what he was doing was illegal. Dr. Phil, if that's not an aggravating factor, I don't know what is. The court would reserve judgment. So there you go, folks. There you go. If your child needs an operation and you can't get one on the health service, don't ask your friends. Can they suggest someone? And if a dude like this turns up at your doorstep and says, clear the table, the kitchen table, move the table mats, the salt and pepper, give it a wipe down with a cloth, let's go. That's not a good sign, folks. That is not a good sign. So So he's appealing his sentence. What do you reckon? Should he get off lightly because he's a professional in his own mind? He willfully acted illegally. He had a multitude of victims. He says he saw the light. And he's changed. Really, everybody sees the light when they get caught. It's a pity he didn't see the light before he got caught. And never mind those kids and their bloody parents. Idiots. They should be jailed too. But anyway, tell me what you think below. Leave a comment. Share this. Give someone a shock this Friday night. Share this video with them and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I'm Rick Munn. No risk, no reward media, over and out.